So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you listen to this. This is Matthew Bailey alongside my critique and partner in crime, Carl Medina.
Hello.
And this is another episode of Bears, Beats, and Bailey. And I actually think that this is going to be a shorter episode in comparison to, what we did last time with Suicide Squad and all those other stuff that
Yeah,
we
well,
discussed here.
yeah. Well, we had Claude as our guest, so
Yeah, yeah.
Give it.
So guys, this one is going to be kind of boring because summer vacation is almost done. All the
Yeah.
summer blockbusters starting to wind down. Even today, at
Well,
the time of this broadcast as well, too, we're gonna have the closing ceremony for the Olympics.
right.
So yeah, man, it's
Yeah.
boring episode.
Well,
Just
at
kidding,
least
but
no. Well, at least we having what I call the apology movies because
yeah,
this whole year for me, almost every movie for this year has been massively disappointing.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm trying to remember if there was any disappointment before BVS.
no, not really. I can't think of any.
Okay,
If-
the shows weren't stellar, but there wasn't anything that really stuck like, oh gosh, that was terrible.
But that's the thing.
Before.
Almost everybody, every movie, for me, was like, oh, they could have do this better. You could have do this better. You could have do this better. Like this was a shit year. Like seriously, it's only the only people who kind of come good was Deadpool, Civil War. That's it.
Yeah,
In terms of mainstream movies, and we had a bunch of like side movies that I enjoy. Like A24 brought out a bunch of great movies. Swiss Army Man, for example, was one of those that really stood out for me. It was great.
still need to watch that out.
Yeah, and I got
watch it, I should say, not watch it out. I haven't even started. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, yeah, I got a screening for it, and I really enjoyed it. So that's gonna get a top 10 for the year for me. And yeah, just like the movie we're gonna talk about is one of those that is one of I call the apology movies, which is
Hell
movies-
or high water.
yes, where we have a case of it's a simple script, and simple movie making, and and it's just not nobody in errors or chaos, and
Exactly.
is
No studio heads clashing
right.
with the director.
I just frankly so fucking tired of talking about behind the scenes bullshit. Like I shouldn't be talking about that. Right? Nobody should, in fact, if you think about it.
Mhm.
It gets so bad now because DC is such a damn disaster. It have a whole cottage industry designed about talking this on the internet, which is ridiculous. Right? That's something that you're not even supposed to hear about most of this shit. We're tired of talking about Just Trank and which director fuck up and which cut is the cut we're supposed to be watching. We're not supposed to be having these conversations.
Yeah, but
right?
people
That's how
love
that-
to talk about that. That's
No, listen.
inevitable.
It's interesting to talk about if you're really in the industry and you're part of it. I get that, and it's mildly interesting to talk about as a factoid after the fact. Like 5-6 years after the movie come out, you hear something went on set and blah 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 blah. When you're having a documentary about a great film or something, but like I just so fucking sick about talking about this after the movie come out, like less than a month. Give me a break, eh?
Yeah,
That means
I know what you mean.
Yeah, too many movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, the movie didn't come out the way we wanted to because, there's all this drama here and all this drama there.
Yeah.
And then I'm supposed to feel better and I'll be like, you know what, let me just forgive this show. Give it a
Right.
4 stars, whatever.
Yeah, that
No.
bullshit. I so sick of that shit, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean, and this summer was just riddled with that nonsense. Almost like it had like 2 or 3 big movies. I was like constantly, you spend more time talking about the stuff behind the scenes rather than the actual movie itself. But the movie is
Yeah.
just garbage. Yeah, Ghostbusters was like that. But that's ancillary kind of reasons. And then of course the 2 DC movies.
Yeah.
Right. This episode we're gonna talk about what, Matthew?
Yeah. Hello High Water that we just mentioned.
Yes.
It's from the Scottish director David Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own characterization of the movie, but I'll get to that when we get to our review.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's written by Taylor Sheridan, who wrote the script for Sicario,
Yeah, boy.
which for some reason wasn't nominated for best original screenplay. But
Yeah.
at least it got noms for best cinematography, and I also thought that in retrospect, Benicio del Toro could have gotten a nomination for best supporting man. I mean,
Right.
remember that performance? Jeez.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Also, I managed to see the latest Netflix series, The Get Down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Well, actually, going to start with that first, and then a show that I don't know. I just kind of feeling bad because I persuaded you before to go and check it out, and then
right,
last
yeah.
minute for me, I was like, should I watch Hello High Water or should I watch this movie? And then I just chose the former. I'm
Right.
talking about Ben-Hur. I don't want to say
Yeah.
it's the last summer blockbuster because I know we have a few more coming up, but
Right. Yeah.
well, I could tell that the whole summer blockbuster thing starting to wind down, and probably might just crash into a wall with movies like this,
Yeah. Again,
throwaway movies. That's what I'm trying to
right,
say.
right.
Yeah,
I didn't really have a big I don't know. I just didn't completely because I didn't spend too much time on Ben-Hur caring about it. And then that day, what it was yesterday, I think, I was just spending time. I had a bunch of other shit to deal with anyway, so it's like I didn't care.
yeah,
But yeah, Ben-Hur was a mess. Whatever, we'll talk about it.
yeah. We all right. Well, first thing first. Well, I'll talk about the Get Down.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So, the Get Down is, like I said, latest Netflix series. It premiered on August 12th, which is like about a week ago. Yeah, well, exactly a week ago. It's created and, well, at least the first episode was directed by Bas Luhrmann.
Right.
If you remember, he's the director of such films like Strictly Ballroom, which I haven't seen before
Right.
ever. I think that was his first Australian feature film.
Yeah.
And then, well, people really started to know about him when William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet,
Right.
or Romeo plus Juliet, came out in
Right.
'96.
That's what
I
Leo.
remember that, yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. There was a big,
Right.
big deal. Although, like in retrospect, it's one of those kind of
It's
like
an MTV
90s
movie.
Yeah, it's an MTV movie. It's blatantly MTV. From
Yeah.
the editing styles to the cinematography, the camera work. But what always amused me about the movie is that they kept the Shakespearean speech down,
Yeah.
the dialogue basically down.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering in this MTV generation back then, how anybody was supposed to understand what they were seeing, you know?
Well, I mean, some you can make sense of it, but yeah, it's a movie that
Wait,
I only like.
I don't hate the show. Don't get me wrong. I don't
Right,
hate the movie at all. I understand why it's that, but
I know.
I wouldn't say it's the best interpretation of that story.
Right, no, it's a strange movie because it's a movie I only liked because older cousins liked it. So it's one of those by proxy kind of things. Especially when you were young. I was pretty young then, so yeah, I remember watching back the other day, and it was like it if you think about it from a Shakespeare standpoint, it worked to a certain extent, but it's such a baffling style and aesthetic.
Yeah.
And I think that was the intention, and it kind of worked for a lot of people. It was a product of its time.
Yeah. And I also remember this review that Roger Ebert did, where he did not like the film at all. I think he gave it like 1 or 2 stars. The reason being is because he felt that the story forgot the overall message about love and stuff, and more focus on the violence, the war between the two families.
Right.
Like, he was glorifying that too much, really.
And that's kind of Baz Luhrmann. Like, Baz Luhrmann was always, for me, that style over substance kind of person.
Yeah, we'll get to that with this series here too.
Where the substance only lies in this kind of postmodernist kind of way of, I could interpret it in a new way kind of attitude. Yeah. And that's my problem with him. But he's a good filmmaker, in my opinion. I still think he's a solid filmmaker. I don't think... I never hated him or think he's like some kind of hack or anything like that.
No. And he always brought his own. What I like is that you could tell that he loves musical films.
Right.
And I don't want to pick like one particular one, but I have a feeling that he's hugely inspired by West Side Story. That one in particular.
That's him. Yeah.
And it's more evident with the next film that he did. I think it was back in 2001, Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
Which I remember was a big deal back then. We had the Lady Marmalade single.
Right. Which I remember hating. I remember hating Moulin Rouge movie, but yeah, that music video was badass.
Yeah. No, but the thing about the movie, like, I was on board. And okay, I'm not really used to that style of musical, but I saw they kind of copied that style with Happy Feet. Where, like in the opening scene, you will have different characters singing different covers of pop songs. And it's like one person will sing one song, and then they'll kind of segue to somebody else singing something else, and there's like this big kind of cacophony of like different sounds and voices going on. And it just felt like that. Just this kind of chaotic kind of vibe where everybody was just singing some kind of Billboard song from the 80s and the 70s, and then the story kind of picks up. But the thing that really turned me off, 'cause, I mean, honestly, I don't remember much about the show except like I said, the kind of chaotic vibe with the music. It's just the end being so tragic. And I don't know, I kind of like my musicals to end on a happy note. This one just ended blatantly tragic. It's like, come on, man, really?
Right.
That's how they got to end the show? You have it like this big, glorious, fun film now. And then you just end it like that. Like, dude, really?
Yeah. I know. For me, I remember just like I remember Chicago came out roughly around that time, so Chicago just over
Well, yeah,
it took,
I think it came a year or two after that one.
right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I remember watching Moulin Rouge, it sucked, and then because Chicago came out,
Yeah,
I was like,
but that movie is better. Chicago, it's more.
yeah, and I was
focused.
like, oh, this is how you're supposed to do this,
Yeah,
and
the songs are better. Yeah.
I completely forgot Moulin Rouge, and that just clouded my memory against Moulin Rouge. Now, I suppose if Moulin Rouge existed on its own, I'd have a probably better memory for it, but
yeah. And like I said before, way too much style over substance.
Right.
I barely remember what the actual story is about. Okay, it's this kind of love story between Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman, but
yeah,
that's all I know because just of the poster alone. And of
Right.
course, it was just all these songs, like I said, all these flashy visuals and dance numbers and stuff. But yeah, nothing really stood out to me that much.
right. Yeah.
What other stuff he did? Well, there was Australia, which honestly I kind of skipped because I heard it
Right.
sucked.
That's the thing. Australia was one of those, you know, you always see those movies where it's just one of those kind of legacy movies. It's all about Australia and Australian history.
I love
And,
Australia. That kind of
right.
thing.
So here's the thing. I don't know if this movie is clearly, it was, I don't know, I get a feeling that it was clearly propaganda for like a liberal Australian government. Like, it's like,
Wow.
well, we're going to apologize for what we did to the Aborigines, and we're going to do blah, blah, blah. And this is the movie to do that. And it came out at that time when, when, you know, everybody had to, you know, remember the Australian government, it was a pretty liberal government when they apologized to the Aborigines for what they did to the children and all of that. There's a
Right.
whole history. Right. And that movie came out to ride that kind of wave. You know, film is, like I admitted, film is really, like, on average, filmmakers tend to be very politically liberal, and that end up playing out that way, where in Australia, where they say, oh, cool. It felt like that. It just felt, oh, cool. We're going to just do this film, you know, showing Australian history and this story in Australian history. And we get to know Nicole Kidman once again.
Yeah.
And Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And it had this, you know, Aborigine kid, and it's like, oh, it's a movie that was just too, you know, patting its own back a little too much.
Right.
I didn't hate it, and I remember meeting the guy who did sound design for it, and
Okay.
yeah, it was like he was a legit guy. I forget, it was like just a little press something where the person come and just talk about their career, whatever it is, and that was the guy.
Oh, like that. Okay.
Right.
I understand now.
Right, and that was it. He just came to talk about the film, and it was
let
him.
me guess, you didn't sound that enthusiastic. Like,
No,
you know, I had a great time making this movie, and you know,
no,
doing all this. It was
that's the
fun
sad
and-
part, is that the film, they don't have control of the film after the fact. So it, he remember, actually he enjoyed it. It was great, and they did a whole run through of why it is that because the film from a technical standpoint was solid. It was solid business.
Yeah, I mean, you can
Just-
expect that. Yeah.
It just the script was shit. So right, that's pretty much it.
Yes, and yes, and finally there was the Great Gatsby, which
Right.
Once again, not a style over substance. Don't
Right.
remember much about the story, but then again, it's because I'm not too familiar with the source material.
Yeah,
Wow,
the
leave it on
book-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Usually, in the case of Great Gatsby, you know, it's usually something when you say something is unfilmable. This is one
Yeah,
of those
but that was kind of weird because I remember there was a film adaptation of it in the 70s, I think. for that.
70s, right? Yeah, I don't
So,
remember what
you know,
year,
I
but
don't-
yeah,
I think it was 74, 73, I think so. But so,
Right.
Yeah, so when I was hearing about this, and I was like, what's the big deal? Okay, you have Leo Caprio, big star,
right.
Baz Luhrmann, so you know you're gonna get this glamorous kind of style. But then I started to hear about Jay-Z, and then you're trying to
Right.
bring in No Church in the Wild. You know,
Right.
his music, basically his Rock Nation music at this. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no,
Why?
Jay-Z. Yeah, Jay-Z didn't fit. Jay-Z didn't fit. The film didn't, again, because of the nature of the book. The book is heavily based on, it has a lot of prose in it. So it's, to describe this scenario doesn't really work out quite well. So most people just miss the point now. So a lot of people love the book. And almost no one likes the movie, or any movie, because it's hard to do. And just to translate is our big problem. And
Is it
Baz
that
Luhrmann-
it's just there's so much going on in the book that you can't really
Right.
compress
it's-
it to.
again, it's not a long book, so I do recommend you just actually sit down and read it. Yeah, it's one of those that just is prose. So you're not sure what is being described exactly and how to translate that into direct imagery in film.
Oh, okay. I
And
understand.
that's the trouble with it now, because the movie, the original 1970s movie suffered from the same trap now.
Yeah.
And Baz Luhrmann is the kind of guy that seems to keep suffering from that trap in the industry in that way. You know, just getting these projects that, when you actually think about it, are not a really wise project to jump into, and you'll end up just getting a mediocre product. And that's what happened to him.
Yeah.
Almost all of his
Well,
movies, even though I think he has interesting ideas and a vision, all the products that end up coming across kind of mediocre ultimately, sadly.
yeah. Well, I don't know if that's if we could kind of say the same thing for this show here, but
Right.
I don't know. Like I think that I don't want to say he was born in the wrong decade or whatever, but I
Right.
kind of see him like back in the 40s and 50s where musicals were so big, and everyone needed to be more lavish, more big budget than the next one. So
Right.
it's kind of like if he were making films during that period,
Right.
then he would have been more influential. He would have had a bigger name. But right now it's kind of like he's in this time now in this era where musicals. I mean, you don't really see that much musicals there nowadays. I can't remember the last like true musical that I saw. I mean, well, we'll forget about Bollywood for a minute, but I mean
Right.
like true Hollywood musicals. Like none really come to mind right now.
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
always yeah he
you're right
always
about
makes
that.
these films that kind of look like musicals. They have the set design and cinematography,
Right.
editing feels like a musical, but it's not.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes, there was one that
Again,
came to mind actually. It was this rock and roll movie. It had Tom Cruise in it.
Tom Cruise. What
Yeah.
was it called?
Rock something something
Oh
something.
yes, yes, I remember that. That came out recently. That was terrible.
It was dumb. I would say
Yeah,
that it was dumb. It
that
was
that
Rock of
that didn't
Ages.
work at
That's
all.
what it was.
No, no, this
Dumb,
had
silly,
this
but
fella Clint Eastwood did one recently as well. Clint
uh,
Eastwood.
what it wasn't about this boy band or sorry
Yeah,
this
yeah,
chorus
yeah.
group.
Right, and you can kind of call that a musical, but yeah, but yeah, no, the musical is something that that's difficult to do. Most people stay away from it. It's a product of its time. This guy is going to do one very soon. The director of Whiplash. Uh,
Serious.
yeah, he's going to do a new one. Damien Chazelle, I think is his name is. Um,
Man rich way.
right, but that's the thing.
Okay.
I think it's a bad choice to just try to do the musical, but we'll see how it'll turn out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the musical is something that is a bit of a death trap in a sense because once you go down that road, you have to pull off multiple levels of production to pull it off and make it work now.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so difficult to pull off because it's something that you have to do an inordinate amount of design, and today's industry really doesn't count for it. I mean, we have an industry where you have all these disastrous comic book movies which should be a easily um home run or six if you watch cricket.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good one.
it should be a easily 6 out of right.
Well,
Pull it off.
easy to pull off, to execute.
Right, and yet it don't get pulled off simply because of just simple bullshit and politics and shenanigans, and so it's so far as for trying to do something truly ambitious like a musical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a trap. So to see this a show like this pull off, the only time anyone who can do it is hip hop. Hip hop is the only people who could kind of pull it off. I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, continue with your thing.
Right. Well, good thing that you bring up hip hop. Very good, by
Right.
the way, because this one, this series here, the Get Down, compared to like the Broadway musicals and other genres of music that he kind of focused on in the past. This one focuses on hip hop. Well, golden age hip hop, actually, I should say,
Right.
or should I say the roots of hip hop itself.
Right.
So I'll get into the story there one time. It's set in 1977, South Bronx, in New York,
Okay.
and it's just basically this rundown borough in New York, and at that time there were people really complaining about what's going on, trying to do what they can to really fix things, but at the same time they were more focused on the youth and trying to keep them safe and not having them do illegal stuff. So of course, well, if you're familiar with New York at the time, there were a lot of cases with graffiti, and out of that, they grew that whole graffiti artist movement. A lot of youngsters sneaked into train yards and whatnot, and did their own tags on the actual trains themselves. So as soon as the trains themselves started to move in the daytime, you would see all these tags there. And of course, a lot of people didn't like that. They complained about it. And then
Right.
at the same time too, there were all these block parties that were taking place. A lot of DJs came out. They got their little turntables and stuff. Really putting out music out there. Getting people to come out and dance and have fun, as opposed to gang banging and just doing all kind of crazy shit.
Right.
But at the same time, while all this is going on, this was at the boom of the disco movement. So One thing I like about this series, well, before I get to what the story is about, is how they show that comparison and contrast with early hip hop music and disco. So for
Right.
those who don't know, well, hip hop really started like I said, from those block parties, just the DJ being there, and they would do something called, they will select what is called a break, which is a musical section of otherwise vocal song. So let's just say they take like a disco track, for example, right? And they would pick like one section where it has music, and they just keep looping it, and it just creates this kind of beat that seems to be going on, and it's just getting the audience, getting the crowd to dance and stuff. And then at the same
Right.
time, now that DJ would have his own crew, so they're not just gonna be in the back dancing or just handing out records for the DJ. They're gonna go and grab the mic and command the crowd. They are the MCs, master of ceremonies, and that's what the job was about. But at the same time, like I said, while that's going on the more, I don't want to say, on the less impoverished sections of New York, you had this disco movement going on. So you had all these clubs, Studio 54, and all these places here just basically playing these songs. And there's one scene from a particular episode, I'm not going to say which episode it is, that kind of brilliantly breaks down the possibility of a disco song, making it big. They
Right.
actually kind of stated that 1 in 6 disco records actually gets played. And it's not like they go to the radio stations and ask them. Well, it's not like the producers actually go to the radio stations and beg them. But sometimes they try, but it usually doesn't work. But it really all boils down to who owns the club, who's running the club. They're the ones who call the shots. They listen to it beforehand, and if they like it, then they have something called basically it's just this kind of meeting where all the DJs kind of come together and just listen to new tracks, and then they are the ones who call the shots. They're the one who decide, okay, this is gonna get people moving in the club. We're gonna play that. So that was
Right.
amazing to me. 'Cause I just thought that literally any disco song that came out at the time, once it's kind of had the same kind of tempo, same beat, catchy hook or whatever, I thought those were the ones that could get easy airplay. I didn't know there was all that difficulty. And then at the
Right.
same time too, they kind of touch on the kind of the whole studio shadiness that goes down with it. Just getting your music out there. What do you have to do? How much? How basically, if you have to stab somebody's back, basically to get your music out there,
Right.
and what you're gonna sing about, and all that kind of stuff that we've seen before in other movies. But basically, the story is centered on a guy called Ezekiel Figaro.
Right.
He's part black, part Puerto Rican. He lives in the Bronx. He lives with his aunt and stepfather. And basically, he's poor as well too. He hangs out with a group of friends, one of which actually is played by Jaden Smith.
Right.
Yeah, and he plays
Right.
Marcus, well,
Yeah, I heard.
nicknamed Dizzy.
Yeah, I heard about him because it's like, oh, you actually gain a role that's not ridiculous, and
Yeah,
right.
right, and he is a graffiti artist as well too. So his tag name is Rumi, Rumi. So, but what I like about Rumi's character, well, that's kind of straight off from it, is he is like the most kind of like the artistic of the group. So, I don't want to describe him as a hippie, but he kind of talks in this sort of heightened sense of mind. He,
Right.
he kind of looks deeper into everything, and he kind of talking about aliens and stuff. So
Like
one of his characters that he draws is this alien with a top hat. He's always talking about, when will the alien be exposed, when the alien will be free, when you'll get
right.
to fly off to the stars and all that kind of
That
stuff.
okay. That sounds like that sounds like the real Jaden Smith attempt.
Exactly, yeah,
Because
that would
okay,
get me. Is like, this is
if
like
you're
the
familiar with
perfect
Jaden
fit with this
Smith's
guy action.
Twitter, if you're familiar with Jaden Smith's Twitter, it's like the most ridiculous stuff. I don't know if he's still on it, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah, he does all this ridiculous. He talks all these ridiculous. He puts all these ridiculous memes, sorry, on Twitter. So it kind of feels like the right fit for him. It's just him with an
yeah,
afro, just kind of talking all this existential, extraterrestrial kind of stuff.
yeah.
Right. So anyway, Ezekiel actually is played by Justice Smith, and for a split second, I actually thought that Jaden and Justice were actually brothers, but no, they're not. He just happens to have the same surname, but whatever, right? So Ezekiel is in love with this girl, with this Hispanic girl named Mylene Cruz, who's played by Harrison F. Gardoya. Forgive me if I got the surname wrong. very attractive girl, by the way. Right,
Hmm.
so her talent is singing. She wants to become a singer, basically. She wants to have her own record, have her own name, you know. And her two friends, well, one black and one Hispanic, always like encouraging her. There's these little moments where they always like listening to music and singing and dancing. So yes, that's when they kind of bring in a bit of the musical style into this series here.
Right.
But I don't want to talk about cliches yet, but yes, Mylene has this uber religious father played by Giancarlo Esposito. If you
Right.
remember from Breaking Bad, of course, famously from Do the Writing. I don't know why this half black, half Italian guy always gets to play this Hispanic character.
You know.
He did that in Breaking Bad too. It's like, dude, you're not Hispanic. But anyway, he plays it off well. So yes, he's a pastor at this church, and of course he doesn't like the fact that his daughter's listening to disco music. He thinks disco music is evil and it's devil music and all that kind of stuff. So yes, he is like totally against her actually making a record or actually going out, leaving the home to pursue a career in singing. So basically, Ezekiel is in love with Mylene, but Mylene isn't too serious about him because she feels that he isn't that serious about his life. He just likes to waste time with his friends, smoke weed, get into trouble and whatnot. And she wants somebody who has a goal, who has dreams, and who's willing to be responsible to work towards those dreams, right?
Right.
So we bring in another character named Shaolin Fantastic. Best character hands down in the whole show. He's played by Shamik Moore. I know I've
Okay.
seen him before in a couple of other shows, but I can't remember. But all right. But if okay, well, the character of Shaolin Fantastic. He's a hustler, and at the same time, he's a kind of up and coming DJ as well too. And his mentor, believe it or not, is Grandmaster Flash. For those who don't know, Grandmaster Flash is arguably one of the most influential figures in hip hop music.
Right.
He kind of, started the sound of hip hop basically through those block parties, and he mastered the art of scratching and stuff. And there's also this great scene where he is teaching Shaolin Fantastic how to do scratching, and just how he kind of shows it is just so like it looks so easy, but it's just the way how it's done. It kind of makes you want to buy your own turntable and just kind of practice it yourself too. It's just so awesome. And the funny thing about like I didn't know that Grandmaster Flash was going to be in this show, but as I saw him and how Shaolin Fantastic was introduced, and clearly by the name Shaolin Fantastic, it's like, oh, that's where the whole Grandmaster comes in. Because
Right.
yes, they are influenced by martial art films, especially at that time during the 70s, martial arts movies were big, and especially like in the in New York, in those ghetto areas, I believe it was Channel 5, that was the station that had those shows at that time.
Yeah.
Just seeing a non-white character be this larger than life hero, like Bruce Lee. There's a lot of references to Bruce Lee movies and stuff.
Right.
So, and just that camaraderie between, the monks and all that. So when I actually saw that character of Grandmaster, I'm like, oh, well, that's why it's called Grandmaster. Oh, okay. Now that makes sense because he now is like the mentor. He is the abbot. He is the sensei basically to Shaolin Fantastic. He teaches him everything he needs to know about, DJing and stuff, but he kind of trusts this guy to figure things out on his own, to figure out his life. That's like one of the main themes in the show, just really trying to figure out, what you want to do in life, regardless of where you're from, you know. So the character of Sheldon Fantastic, apart from, like I say, apart from being this DJ, he's also a hustler as well too. He works for this gangster basically who owns this nightclub. It's a guy. Well, him and his mother basically run this club, and they are these no nonsense characters as well too. They are always selling drugs and stuff. But if you step out of line, they won't hesitate to pull a gun and shoot you. That's how real they are. And then they bring in this the street gang as well too. I forgot the name of the gang, but it if you're familiar with movies like The Warriors, for example,
Yeah.
where they always have that type of leather shirt with the logo in the back. You have characters just like that, and they're basically these youngsters, and they kind of hinted it through the series that they are hired by certain investors to go and burn apartment buildings down. So So people will be left out of homes, and then they could just kind of buy out the land and sell it at a higher price. So you really see like how the people in this ghetto are being influenced by politics, being influenced by music as well too. And finally, we have Jimmy Smits. I remember we mentioned him last time with our Suicide
Star
Squad
Wars.
review. Yeah,
Yeah, Star
and
Wars.
Star Wars, right? So he plays Francisco Cruz. He's this
Yeah.
political boss, and basically he's just trying to ensure that everyone in the South Bronx gets proper housing. So he's defending the black and the brown. That's his mission basically. And his niece actually is Mylene, so he kind of supports her in her mission to become the singer. And of course we have Ezekiel, trying to get with her. But at the same time, no, I'm not gonna say how they kind of run into each other, but he and Sheldon Fantastic run into each other. They form this friendship. Well, um, Ezekiel and his friends form this friendship with Sheldon Fantastic. They get introduced into the world of this the early developing hip hop world, and they form their own crew, which is called the Get Down Crew. So Sheldon
Right.
Fantastic is on behind is he's the DJ basically, and everybody else is kind of like they are the MCs performing and stuff. And there's all these little side stories as well too. Basically, like will Mylene get that record? Um, will the bad guys get at Ezekiel? Because yes, there's this whole thing where the bad guys are trying to get at Ezekiel and also at Sheldon Fantastic, and all these little subplots that take place in this overall 6 episode series. And yes, I say 6 episodes because I believe we were supposed to get 12, but
Okay.
Netflix kind of came up with this. I don't want to say it was a great idea, but oh gosh, where they're only gonna give us 6 episodes in 2016, and the other 6 we have to wait till next year.
Okay. I
So
thought
I
it
don't
was
know. Like at the end of the 6 episode, I was like, oh my goodness, why do I have to wait till then? Because
right.
my goodness, I had so much of fun with this show from
Right.
start to end. Tons and tons of fun. It has that Baz Luhrmann style, especially in the first episode, which, like I was reading up a few reviews of it, was the least well received, and that's mainly because yes, it is directed by Baz. That's the only episode directed by him. But the way it's done, it's literally an hour and a half in length. Because these episodes technically run for like about roughly 50 to about 58 minutes long. But
Right.
this one in particular, the intro episode, runs at an hour and a half. And it
Right.
has the typical Baz Luhrmann, his approach to the story, which is, it has this kind of like musical kind of approach. So there's lots of crane shots being used, lots of stylistic, shots, great cinematography as well too, lots of popping colors and stuff. And of course, you have your little musical numbers thrown in here and there. But overall, this is not a musical. Yes, it is
Right.
about disco and hip hop and how they influence society and how society was influenced by those two musical styles. But it's not like a musical where characters just suddenly stop and just break out into song. This is not Rock of Ages or Footloose or anything like that. You know, but
Right.
you do get musical numbers, like I said. That so in the first episode in particular, where we're inside the villain's club. Well, actually, the villain's name is Kalak. I don't remember the name of him. So we're inside this club called Le Inferno, which I guess is a reference to the classic disco song Disco Inferno. Kids Ask Your Parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's how to say, if you're familiar with movies like say Saturday Night Fever, where you always have like the dance number, you always have the song playing and everybody kind of comes onto the dance floor and dance in time to the beat, same style of dance and all that kind of thing. It's there. And then you have the story going on as well too, and then you have that style of editing. And I'm going back to West Side Story basically. You have seen West Side Story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're familiar with a moment where, all right, let's paraphrasing here, where Maria, right, where Maria is about to do something, and then you have the other guy, the Romeo character, about to do
Yeah.
something else as well too,
I know they
and then
cut
you
it.
have
Yeah.
something else going on as well too. I think it's with the
Yeah.
gang about to rumble. So
Yeah.
you
It's a
have these
parallel.
three things going on.
Yeah.
It's
It's
all this
parallel
parallel
edit.
editing, yeah.
Yeah.
So they do that a lot in this series. So
Right.
if it's not like a non-diegetic song playing in the background, it could be a diegetic song. It could be like a particular theme going on. So you have like three different characters. The same thing is going on, same overall motif or whatever going on. They just keep cutting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And
Right.
hands down, I love the editing. This editing is well done. It really kind of harkens back to that old school musical style, musical movies as well too. The performances, for the most part, are great. Justice Smith is really convincing. I like his characters out of Ezekiel. He kind of comes off as gullible at times. He wants to do the right thing, but he because he knows so much about the streets and stuff. He has this kind of hand sense of right and wrong. But at the same times, he needs guidance. He needs someone to push him along, and sometimes he just needs like a little cussing out or somebody to kind of slap him back into reality and let him know, you can't be doing this. You can't be acting like a little kid. A little kid. You have to be a man. You have to grow up. You have to do things. So it's that
Right.
kind of coming of age thing that is prominent in this story as well too. Gene Smith, for the most part, was I didn't have any complaints with his character. I thought it was decent. There were a few cringe-worthy lines from him, but
Right.
the way how he delivers is kind of like, yeah, that didn't work. Cut to next scene, and then he actually cut to the next scene. But I felt it worked with his kind of spaced out character of Rumi.
This show remind me of it had a show on HBO called Vinyl that came out the other day. It got cancelled.
Right. I was about to mention Vinyl as well too.
Right.
I believe Vinyl is set in the 70s as well,
Right.
and yeah, it only lasted one season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it is set around that time. But I believe Vinyl is more about the industry, the music industry at the time, and how they were putting out music at that time. I believe so. But in
Right.
this case, with this show, like I said, it's more about the community, the society, and how how they were influenced by music, and how music kind of influences their daily lives as well too. What else? The music is great as well too. There's lots of old school disco hits, and of course some classic hip hop breaks. If you're familiar with like hip hop sampling, the sort of disco and funk records that were being sampled and used in many hip hop songs, then you will hear like a familiar beat or two playing in the background as well.
Right.
What else
So
to
they,
mention?
they do they use like, okay, so one of the more famous history of hip hop
Uh-huh.
is known as the Amen break. You have any specific task or dialogue about that, or they just don't talk about stuff?
The
Any
arm and break. Can you kind of
look up. Oh, so there's a lot
no?
of
I probably knew it. I probably knew it if I
yeah,
hear it, I'll know it.
you hear it in a ton of songs, and this guy called Everything Is a Remix, I think, covered it. If you could find that video. Basically you ever hear that is basically the song. And it's sampled in almost every version of every hip hop song, like a ton.
All right. You could kind of give my example.
Oh boy.
Just one example. Just one. I'll know
Nas.
it. Which one? And I'll
I
get to
can.
Nas in a bit.
I can. Right. That. Right. That.
Yeah. But there are a couple of. All right. When I say like those samples, I'm talking about like. All right. Like, if you do some serious digging online, you'll find this DVD is called the NYC Throwdown Party, right?
Right.
And it's all these different parties that were being done during, I think it's from 1977 to about the early 80s, and people actually used to record those live parties. And there's actually one subplot in this series where you have this bootlegger. So there's this guy who comes with his machine and he's recording Cool Herc. Yes, Cool Herc is actually in the show. If you don't know who Cool Herc is, he's another influential figure in the world of hip hop. Actually, I could argue and say he is the one who pretty much invented hip hop music.
Right.
Yeah. So there is this character who goes around with this music, with this device, and is recording, his parties onto this tape. So he comes back as soon as side A is done, flips over, records on side B, leaves the party, and then basically goes outside and sells them outside of his car. You know. So that was really interesting how they kind of show that. So I'm kind of wondering if those songs that are on that live party DVD is a result of bootlegging. I don't know. I can't really say for sure, but if you do get a chance, Ricardo, I highly suggest you look for it.
Okay.
Or I mean, you can find some of them on YouTube. Just some of those examples of those parties. They just run for like about a little 40, 50 minutes, and then they cut to the next one, basically.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
you could get a sense of how those parties worked, where you had the DJ that was just he found the breaks, he was playing the breaks, and you have the MCs coming in, and of course they had their lines rehearsed, so it's just kind of like getting the crowd hyped up, and just rhyme after rhyme after rhyme, just basically going from one beat to the next, and I love how this series brilliantly kind of captures that vibe. Also on the subject of Nas, believe it, yeah, he is one of the executive producers of this show as well too.
Right.
Yeah. And one thing that he did kind of cleverly in this show is that, in a way, he is like the narrator of this series.
Really? So
Yeah.
it's his voice actually?
Yeah. Well, what they do, well,
Okay.
they kind of in the first episode they started like that, where we cut to Madison Square Garden, and then we have this rap performance taking place. I don't know why. Like every time I saw that, I was just thinking about Jay-Z's so-called final performance at the Madison Square Garden,
Right.
the 2040 encore thing. No,
Encore.
was
Yeah.
the encore? Was the Black Album thing that he
Well,
did, right?
it was a Black Album thing, but they did, instead of doing a proper video for Encore, which in my opinion is one of the best tracks on that album.
Yes, hands down.
Yeah. What happens that they just end up filming this thing as a kind of go away, a kind of send away kind of thing, and I mean it makes sense because the track is called Encore anyway.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right, cool.
And it has the audience and stuff in the
Right.
background and stuff. Yeah.
It's
Right.
I still love the song, but that video was shit. Good God. I was
It,
like,
it
why
could have
is
been
he-
better. It could have been way
Yeah,
better,
yeah, they could have
especially
edited that better.
that guy
Make
like
it just
Jay-Z,
so,
man.
so amateur.
Yeah.
Really, I remember that just being so terrible. Whatever.
Right. So getting back to the show now. So
Yeah.
right. So slight spoiler alert: Ezekiel is actually the guy on stage. So he is the rapper on stage, basically rapping about his life story. So every episode, well, not every episode, but they kind of work in a song in every episode. And it's
Right.
kind of like him just performing in front of that audience on that particular night. And if you're familiar with Nas's music, yes, he's from Queensbridge, but it's all about him being this East Coast MC. He loves
Right.
to sing about his youth. He likes to talk about being influenced by the early beginnings of rap music, and
Right.
being influenced by Grandmaster Flash and all those people, Grandmaster Kaz,
Right.
characters like that. So Ezekiel plays that kind of role where he's talking about his life, how hard it was in the South Bronx, and how he was influenced by Sean Fantastic. How he brought him under his wing, taught him all what he needed to know, and then he kind of realized this is what I want to be. And oh gosh, I kind of forgot to mention that Ezekiel is very, very deep into poetry as well too, almost to the point that he's almost kind of embarrassed to kind of admit it. There's this moment where he's in school, and his teachers are aware that he's very good in poetry, but because of that sort of attitude where you're doing this poetry thing and it's all about impressing girls, it kind of makes you appear soft and weak. So
Yeah.
he kind of doesn't. Apart from his friends that part of the Get Down crew, he doesn't like to tell people that he's doing poetry. They in one scene they actually call him the F word, just blatantly, just so because he just wrote this poem, and the poem is this really really heartbreaking poem about the fact that his parents died
Right.
while he was growing up as well too, and this the father was shot. I know it's just this really heartbreaking tale about how bad life is in the ghetto, and is there any hope for him?
Right.
And I like how they kind of touch on that theme as well too, getting out of the ghetto.
Right.
So
Yeah,
with Ezekiel, it's all about, should I do rap, or should I just do like a normal job, and maybe I could get out of there and start over and get a new life. And then in case of Mylene now, it's all about, should I make that record? Can I get out there? Can I be this big singer and move out to the hood as well too? Or am I
Right.
always going to be tied down by my parents who just don't believe in me? That kind of thing.
Right.
Right. What else to mention? Yes, the music is fantastic as well too. I love the editing, the acting is great. If I could, I mean, but it's not a perfect show to say the least, and reason being is because some of the actual subplots, some of the character arcs tend to meander a bit. So at times it's kind of like, okay, is this just going to be some kind of dramatic thing about um, Mylene trying to make it big in the music biz? Or is it about Ezekiel trying to make it big in the hip hop world or trying to make his name there? But it didn't really bother me as much because I was having so much fun watching the show. It's just that kind of like when you kind of when it all ends and you're thinking about it, it's like, this could have been a little bit tighter. You could have
Yeah.
cut to that point a little bit faster instead of just kind of dragging things along. And there are a few narrative threads that I felt that they could have tied up, even though this is 6 episodes and it's just half of the first season. But I just wish that they could have just kind of tied it up at least to give this section of this series a sense of closure. But instead, they kind of just left open, so you have to
Right.
kind of wait till next year. Unfortunately, I hope I don't have to wait till next year August to see what happens next. But overall, for what they were going for, I thought this was a great series. I like the fact that it wasn't like this overblown musical. It wasn't too much style over substance. It does tend to kind of waver every once in a while. So it's sometimes it's more style than substance, and sometimes more substance than style. But because of the whole fun vibe, because of the whole retro vibe, and just that energy, and that's another thing I forgot to mention too. I love the energy that they put into this. I love the care that they put into this. You could tell that Baz and this team really love hip hop music. They really wanted to capture that time, and
Right.
love disco as well too. So you got a sense of both worlds. Um, Ezekiel is a very compelling character, very compelling protagonist. You're really rooted for this guy. You really want to see this guy win as well. Same thing goes for Mylene as well too. You like her, and not just because she's attractive, but
Yeah.
you really want to see these characters win. You want to see them get out of the hood. But of course, you have the antagonists. You have like Cadillac. You have Mylene's dad. The Bible thumping preacher who believes, like I said, that disco is devil music and all that kind of stuff. You have all these obstacles, and you could kind of relate to that in some way, shape, or form. I give this a decent 4 to 5 stars.
Nice.
Definitely worth checking out.
Right.
It's just the one thing. It's just 6 episodes, and just that one episode had to be hour and a half. It really didn't need to be, but I would make the argument that because it's Baz directing that one particular episode, that it needed to feel like a movie. It needed to feel cinematic, you know.
Right.
But other than that, highly recommend it. If you're a huge fan of hip hop, especially golden age hip hop, I strongly recommend you check it out. If you're not too familiar with that style of music and you'd like to know more about it, strongly suggest you check that out, and then probably go online and just read up more about that style of music. Listen, go on YouTube, check out some of those block parties, the audio that was recorded at that time, and just really familiarize yourself with that style of music. And also just in closing, I would actually recommend that whoever's watching this series, that you should do that as well too, because you could say what you want about rap music and how commercial and mainstream has gotten, but just really understanding how it started from the beginning, just from simply getting 2 records and finding a piece of music and just scratching back and forth, and just getting a guy with a microphone and going on stage and just rhyming. All these simple beginnings, and look at what it look at what came out of that, basically.
Right.
Yeah, it's just really amazing. And because I love hip hop
Well,
music so much, I don't know, I just gravitated to that easily,
right.
just
Well,
from
not
the word go.
well. It is the case not now because we could say Kendrick. We could say the greatness like somebody like Kendrick Lamar, but then you could say Future.
Yeah, your boy.
You know.
Yeah, but like I say, 4 to 5 stars, highly recommend it. Definitely check it out.
Cool. Well, excellent. Bro. Excellent.
Right.
I'll
So
give it
while
a
I
shot.
yeah, no, definitely do. It's just like I said, give us the whole 12 episodes, man, or 13 or whatever. But
Yeah, to finish off the
this
series. Yeah.
sixth thing, I mean, it ends the way how it should end. I like how it ends on that 6th episode. Oh yeah,
Right.
you will love the final episode for this one. Awesome.
Right.
But you just kind of left out of it wanting more, and that's a great thing actually.
Right.
When all is said and done. So I can't wait to see what they bring with the second half of the Get Down. I hope it doesn't end in tragedy like Moulin Rouge. And I hope
Right.
that we get more episodes of this. Sorry, more seasons out of this, because yeah, Netflix, they onto something with this one by far. Yeah. So like I said, one more time, definitely check it out.
Okay.
Right. So moving along,
So
while I
so
catch my breath. Whew.
yeah, let's take a dip. Let's take a dip in quality.
Yes, take a dip in quality.
Dip in quality of so we go from the excellent rundown to we're going to go for to the utterly forgettable and mediocre
And unnecessary.
and totally unnecessary
Yeah.
Ben-Hur remake.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, by the way, well, okay, I'm reading this off of Wikipedia right now. So this is the fifth film adaptation of the novel Ben-Hur: A Tale of the Christ by Lew Wallace.
Yeah.
And it's following the 1907 silent film, the 1925 silent film.
Yeah, it have two silent films.
The 1959 film, which won a
1959,
ton of Academy Awards. I think it won about 12 or 13.
Right, that's the classic I'm familiar with.
Yes, the classic. I know there was there was one that came out in the 2000s.
Don't remember that.
There was also an animated film that came out in 2003.
Right.
No, I haven't seen the early 2000s one. I just
me neither.
First knew about that.
Right.
And yes, now we have this version here.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It have a couple people in this I liked. So I kind of like Toby Kebbell, kind of, even though he tend to be in a bunch of bad movies. And he real ham it up in this. and of course I like Morgan Freeman.
Of course, yeah.
Didn't need to be in this, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
you want to just get like a brief rundown as to what
this so the story is
about?
Yeah, no, it's roughly the same story as the 1959 film. They didn't really change much. I don't remember any big, like, massive changes from the original source material. But basically, it's the same story of character Judah Ben-Hur.
Mm-hmm.
Is betrayed by his brother. He's this wealthy Jewish guy. Gets not
blood brother, of course.
Not blood brother. No, it's his adopted brother. Okay. But the adopted brother more embraced the Roman Empire over the Jewish thing, and there's a whole set of politics and and a set of politics at the time and whatnot. And then basically he was sold into slavery, and it's basically a big revenge story.
Yes. And then of course we have the chariot race, which
big
was
chariot
excellent race. In the 1959 movie, guys. If you haven't seen it, why?
Yes, he has a first fucking problem with this movie.
Yes, hit me.
They decide. Okay, so a lot of Christian movies in recent years, a couple years back, has been actually surprisingly quite good. You have The Good Lie, if I remember correctly. That was about African thing. It had the one with the what was the one? Risen.
Yeah, Risen came out this year actually.
Right, that was recent.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was actually
and actually had a really good concept.
Right,
his body disappeared, and the Romans thought that. Well, I don't know if they thought that it was stolen or if they realized that he did resurrect, and they were looking for the body, right?
Right, as the whole point of the story is that this fella had to kind of prove the case against the resurrection and whatnot. No, but I actually liked Risen. I thought Risen wasn't half bad. Risen was mediocre, but it was still, like, for a Jesus movie, it was good.
Yeah.
So usually these movies the sad part is that people like Kurt Cameron just completely take over the entire franchise. So you end up having just these garbage movies.
Yeah.
And as
Christmas.
I say, I could go off on a tangent about what I think religious movies should do, but whatever.
Yeah, but this one I forgot to mention. It's not really about Christ, but Noah, which I actually enjoy. I actually liked. I like that.
Right, but Noah's a different
approach to it. Yeah.
Right, Noah's a different beast entirely because they decide to go this kind of weird Gnostic route with the material now.
Yeah, but I'll just make this quick little argument about that.
Right.
So, like, yes, I know a lot of Christians didn't like how they changed certain things, and one thing they didn't like is how, like Russell Crowe said in an interview, that Noah was this dark character, and maybe he wasn't all that good and stuff like that. I like how the way I would describe Noah is kind of like how say like a Harry Potter novel is. You take the source material and you change it up for Hollywood. But you have the diehard fans that will say, that's not how it worked, that's not what happened. But is the overall message there, yes or no? And that's what I felt was strong about.
Okay, so
Noah.
that's the thing. Okay, so if I remember correctly, Noah was based on a French comic.
It was.
So that is where the if I remember correctly, that's what it's supposed to be based on.
Okay, I thought that was like Darren's take on.
No, it's not his take. I think it was largely influenced by this French comic you could find it called Noé.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Right. I have to check that up. I think that's what I remember correctly. That's what I remember. Anyway, and the whole idea of, Noah. The thing is, Noah has to be a dark character because he letting millions of people die. That is
Yeah.
no matter if all those millions of people were shitty people, or according to the story at least. Yeah, millions of people died.
Just
I mean,
the thought of that thread is
exactly.
dark.
So that alone is a very, very dark idea. So whatever. But the point is, as I say, it's a different beast entirely because you're not really quote unquote following the canonical approach to Christianity and it's what to do with that interpretation stuff now. But that's so in the case of Ben-Hur, Ben-Hur does a good job with telling that story about, you know, Judah, Ben-Hur, and they reference Jesus in it. They get the guy was the the guy who was remember the guy who in 300, the villain? I forget his name.
Susie's.
Right.
Yeah, Rodrigo Sant.
Right. Yeah, I think he played
Santono or Santino, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he played Jesus in this. He
Yes,
was looking.
yes,
I was
yes.
watching the face, and I was like, "Oh, is that the same guy from 300?" All right, cool. And yeah, the thing is that the original.
But how did he play it? Did he?
It was alright.
Okay.
It wasn't like particularly interesting. Here's the problem in this movie: the movie spent a ton of money on stuff, and they clearly spent all the money on the actors because everything else looked terrible. Just some simple set design, costume design looked cheap and shitty. The way how this stuff was shot was cheap and shit. So like sometimes you're watching the cameras like, wait, there's a GoPro they use for this, and like especially with the chariot race, like, geez, boy, this is looking rubbish, dude. And yeah, everything was half-assed. Toby Kebbell was hamming it up, but Toby Kebbell is a person I happen to like, even though he is the movies I see him in that I like. But he was Warcraft, he's a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, Toby Kebbell was just an over-the-top ridiculous person. And then the guy they got for Ben-Hur is like, yeah, you need a larger-than-life character for that. I still can't remember what the actor name is. I have to look it up. And I forget what...
His name is Jack Houston.
Here's the thing, right. Here's the thing. I had to look that up like while he was talking about recently in the rundown when he was talking about that. I just did a quick run through to look it up and I forget it.
Get down.
Yeah, the Get Down, sorry. While he was talking about it, I forgot in that 5 minutes he was talking about it. That is how forgettable this dude is.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you know, like, I now realize that his grandfather was actually John Houston. Like
that is why I studied.
John Houston. Like, holy shit, look at that.
That is why I studied. I was like, wait, this man's supposed to be Hollywood royalty and he's so forgettable and shitty. He's like, nah, I don't put he in the camp of these shitty Australian actors that they try to force on people. He good at, and he good. I know he has a TV role.
He's British actually.
Right.
Now reading up, he was Richard Harrow in Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
If you remember that guy, yeah.
And that's the thing. I was like, oh yeah, is that guy from Boardwalk Empire? He was in that too. And I completely forget this man's face. The man is so forgettable in this movie.
Which is funny because Boardwalk Empire, that character was always about his face and that mask thing that he had on.
Right.
Yeah.
What else? Oh well, Morgan Freeman was utterly pointless in this. It could be anybody, but whatever.
It's a paycheck, okay. So
yeah, you know, and it was just him being the African, basically.
Because we just needed one. No offense.
And I think my biggest problem is that they just totally missed the point of why the original film worked. And they just decided, oh, we need to make this just on sheer name only. And the movie is just a sort of bullshit. Sorry.
Dude, like the trailer alone was just selling set pieces. It was selling the slavery scenes and the ships, and then of course the chariot race. And the movie is not about the story is not about the chariot race. That's the climax of the story. But the movie is not about chariot races. Come on, miss the point.
Yeah, there's big big selling point about in the rowing part where it's the boat and you see this first person sequence looking like a video game. I don't know. This movie was. I had to give this I'm gonna rate it one time because I just want to talk. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, you know, you see how short we have a review of this because it's a real quick short review. Movie was garbage. Sorry. I give this low CC8, if not a globe. This just completely waste my time. And it was so, you know, it's one thing that you have a movie that bad, but you can remember it being bad. I almost immediately forgot that I watched this movie and I had to just go and pay some bills or something like that, and I forgot that I saw the movie. Like, holy shit, it's only when coming to do this review now, I'm like, oh yeah, I watched this movie, I went to see this. I know 2 hours of my time didn't go missing immediately. You know, I didn't black out drunk.
That's sad. That's real
no,
sad.
It was really bad, and that is the greatest sin of this film. If you're doing a bad film, I have to at least get me to remember that it was a bad film. At least Batman v Superman did that.
Yeah, it was bad, but there were things that you remember.
Right. At least I remember watching it. I really remember watching it. This was a waste of my fucking time. Do not go see this movie. Don't just skip it. Total nonsense. doesn't hold up to the 1959 classic. Go watch back that.
Of course not.
Like I would petition. I would rather petition IMAX to just show back the 1959 version. I'll go pay and watch that in IMAX over watching this. This was utterly pointless.
No,
And
no.
the worst part-
As you bring up that, I have a question. What if they re-released the 1959 version in 3D? Would you go?
Oh yeah, totally. Like if they do something like that, and I could totally, and they make it work, and they make the 3D like workable in terms of the storytelling and for its purposes. Yeah, totally go and see that. This movie, don't waste your time to see this. You know, what pisses me off about this too is that they clearly do it for like the amount of money that was clearly spent on this, because the movie is very expensive. It's like one of the most expensive movies for that genre now. And you know, it's like with horror movies, you know, they try to they just get too greedy. You know, Christian movies is like horror movies in that sense that horror fans will watch anything, and you could go cheap or go expensive, but they'll just watch it and rate it the same way. And they clearly try to cater to a mainstream audience with this one.
Yeah,
And-
clearly. Look at the trailer alone.
Right.
But
and it's like-
what's getting me is that I'm wondering now, because I mean, to be fair, Ben-Hur, it's not like the go-to movie to watch on an Easter weekend. It's just
Right.
Well, it's a biblical epic, so you just show it because it's based around that era.
Right.
But I don't think, like, you know, Christians are gonna be like, well, we need to see this movie, you know, kind of like with Risen or to extent Noah,
Right.
and then you'll come back
Right.
and be like, well, you shouldn't watch this movie because of this, and this is not how Ben-Hur was, and
Yeah.
and blah. You know?
Nobody was talking about this. Nobody gave a shit. And I didn't give a shit about it. And the filmmakers didn't seem to give a shit, even though they spent a ton of money on it for some reason. And it again,
that's a shame though.
It's a real
I thought
shame.
they would have at least try to pay as much, you know, try to reach that level that at least in 59 movie did. You know, really try to raise that bar at least.
right.
But,
And the sad
you
part
know.
is that the special effects wasn't even that good. Some of it looked like a video game in my opinion. But I was just questioning when it was a bad screen I watch it on. But it's like, no, special effects actually that bad. Cause I watch it back. I just watch back a trailer. Sometimes I watch a trailer just to get a sense of, oh right, when you call me, like, I had to watch back the trailer to just get a sense of what the aesthetics was and whatnot. And yeah, waste of time.
Yeah, but we forgetting the main thing.
What's the main problem?
The chariot race, man. How was that?
That's
How
what I'm
was that
saying.
sequence?
It barely were talking about the chariot race. Had a bunch of bad cuts in it. Again, go back to the 1959 film. The chariot race was well shot,
Yes.
really intelligent in terms of how the camera worked, and it
Yes.
didn't have too many cuts. That's the smart part. This one had a bunch of cuts and a bunch of shitty special effects. That's what I was about to talk about. Everything looked crappy. Some was practical, but you could tell what was practical and what wasn't. I don't know what it was, but it's like it had a part where you could tell like they had a bunch of dust in it to try to make it better, but like none of that
to
makes
make it
sense.
kind of gritty and more
Right,
raw.
but that didn't make sense, and it was like really stupid. And I think one of the biggest problems is because of what's his name, Jack Houston.
Yeah.
I think they needed a bigger actor for him. If they got somebody big like a Russell Crowe, somebody like that, I think it may have worked. But he was so bland and forgettable. I was like, "Jeez, boy, forget this dread." Look,
you know, well, good thing you brought up Russell Crowe, because clearly, you know, they're trying to be like Gladiator, and that was the
Right.
one thing I was going to ask you about.
Right.
All right, so I'm just going off from the trailer alone. That
Right.
last half of the chariot race, they were just going for this real visceral, really violent, brutal kind of take on that chariot
Right.
race, right?
Right.
So did it work
Nope,
in
bullshit.
that aspect, or it failed?
No. Again, gritty bullshit that missed the point of the original story. It still tell the story and it's like, all right, it's a chariot race, fine, but no sense of emotional weight with it. The chariot race just was the exclamation point in a great story. So if you don't tell a great story, much like how Transformers is a shit movie because you have good action but you don't care about the story, or Batman v Superman, a bunch of action but not a shitty story, you don't care.
Right.
So I didn't care about Jack Houston. Didn't care about him at that point. It's like, okay, fine. You know, I get the story of Ben-Hur, but you have to be like completely ignorant of all the material before to like this, I suppose, maybe. And if you like you don't know anything about movies, you might like it. But yeah, no, I totally skip this movie. Seriously, this is a waste of time. And I just kind of annoyed just talking about it now.
Yeah. We could move on to something else now.
Yeah,
Like,
this
for
is
now.
a colossal waste of time. Jeez, boy.
Yeah,
You know, I'm glad. Here's the thing. I'm glad I didn't go to see this in a higher cinema. I went in a real shitty cinema to go and see it. So like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
see it. Go see it in a shitty cinema. If at most cheap money, or see it
Yeah,
at
I'm,
home
I'm
on cable or
matinee.
whatever.
Go and see it as a matinee, basically. Right.
Yeah, waste of time.
All right.
Waste of time.
So
Well,
moving along, now we're gonna get to the show that I almost put off to go and
yeah,
see, Ben-Hur.
yeah,
But fortunately, that little voice in my head say, you know what? Nah, boy, don't fork over that money for 3D. Go and see something a little different.
yeah,
And I will kind of say why I picked this movie over Ben-Hur. Of course, I'm talking about Hello High Water.
yeah, boy.
It's just, I don't know. It's because like right now, you know, August is almost done. The summer blockbuster season is almost done as well too. And like I don't know, I've just been seeing so much of these big budget special effects leading movies, you know, from Suicide Squad to this to that and all these other things, that every once in a while, you know, you just want to see something different. You want to see something that does not rely on a big budget or a lot of special effects. So
Right,
I just wanted to get a great story, great characters,
right.
interesting teams and stuff, something that that will stick with me. I would be
Yeah,
like, oh well, you know, flashiness and all that stuff. Yeah, okay, I get my money's worth. Okay, moving on. Wait, what was it? What was it I just saw? You know, kind of like when you and Ben-Hur, you saw it, but you forgot about it
right.
immediately afterwards. But this
Yeah,
one really stuck to me. Of course, I'm talking about Hell or High Water.
yeah, boy.
It's directed by David Mackenzie, who I said is a Scottish filmmaker. He made some other films before, but this honestly is the first movie I've ever seen from him.
Right.
Um, it's written by Taylor Sheridan,
Yeah,
who wrote Sicario, which we both saw. We
yeah,
had in our top 10 lists of last
yeah.
year.
I didn't notice. Only it was only until I saw the credits after I was like, oh shit, this is the same guy who did Sicario. All right, that makes sense. And
Oh, you
I didn't
didn't
know
know
that.
that?
I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that going into the film.
Okay, well, in the trailer, they don't even say who the director is. Just say from the writer of Sicario. That's
Right. So
all.
I probably forget.
Yeah.
I probably just missed that part. I think I saw part of the trailer and I didn't really watch too much of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It stars Chris Pine, who you may
Right.
know from, you know, the Star Trek reboot movies.
Yep.
Ben Foster, who recently starred in the underwhelming video game to movie adaptation of Warcraft.
Right.
And everyone's favorite dude, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, boy.
From Tron and I guess Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
And of course Big Lebowski and some, you know,
No, like
other films.
and Obadiah from Iron Man and a bunch of great.
And Iron Man as well too. He
Yeah.
played is Slade or what was he Slade?
No, Obadiah Steel.
No, Obadiah Steen, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Okay. This for me was simply fantastic. A simple yet powerful story and moral message.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent script with excellent dialogue. But I love the chemistry between everybody, especially between the two brothers and then the deputy and the sheriff.
Yeah, that would be Alberto Parker, played by
Yes.
Gil Birmingham.
Yeah.
I love that back and forth.
Love that
between
back and
him
forth.
And Jeff Bridges here.
Yeah, great. Natural chemistry between everybody, the characters. Chris Pine was surprisingly good in this.
I'll talk about him in a bit, but go on.
Yeah, didn't expect him to be so good. He was surprisingly good in this because it wasn't about him. Here's the thing. I like the movie for its dialogue, but his strength was when he was not talking. Just the emotion in his face and those bright blue eyes, like geez, boy, those baby blues though. The man just give that sheer indignation he had on his face with the story. And when you learn what went on in the end of the story, when the entire script was wrapped up, it's like you totally understand what this man was going through. Right, and it totally worked. And you totally understand the decisions he made with the story. Jeff Bridges, we forgot how much of a national treasure he was. He was great in this.
Yes.
Great in this. And just a damn good script. I just really enjoyed the story. Simple story.
Right.
Simple story. Nothing convoluted about it, but very, very powerful in terms of the moral issue and what the ethics of the situation was. And it made it totally work. I just want to talk about details and the overall. I don't think we'll try too much spoilers.
No.
Couple slight nitpicks I had before we get into it, but just a couple slight quick nitpicks. Some of the world building felt a bit caricatured, but from what I understand, it's not too much a caricature. Like in terms of like the Texan accents and like some of those characters, those side characters felt a little too much like a little too fake. Like it's
like we're in Texas, so you have to have the Texans with the big cowboy hats.
Well, yeah,
I'll
say the characters like some of the side characters, like the first bank teller, that woman in the beginning.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
right.
The waitress who, that was a really funny scene with the waitress with the what don't you want?
Yeah, what don't you want?
Yeah, love her.
That was clever.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then a couple other side characters, but overall it was like, yeah, that's a lot of that is Texas. A lot, from what I understand, that seems to be the case. It's not over the top. And then a couple things. It had one scene that they could have cut, which is one of the characters kind of monologue. I won't say who it was. He had a bit of a monologue, and I thought it put the central theme of the story a bit too on the nose, but it didn't take me out of the movie. But my brain noticed it.
Right.
And then Jeff Bridges' character himself, remember Jeff Bridges did True Grit, right?
Yes.
He felt like that character again. So
I can't really vouch for that. I haven't seen True Grit in like.
Oh no, yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long while.
No, the recent one.
I know. I haven't seen it in a long while, so I can't remember.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it was basically that character again. Somebody made a joke, and I remember saying, and I agree with this. Yeah, it felt like a descendant of that same character almost. Because it was very, very similar. Yeah, but overall, I love this movie. This was I'll put it on par with Sicario. Not as good as Sicario, but I'll say why it has a trade-off and why this is some ways stronger than Sicario, and then other ways why Sicario is stronger than this. But yeah, overall, this gets a very high rated for me.
Don't rate it just yet.
Yes, I just saying what good about. I think really rated it, but I just really love this movie. Didn't expect to enjoy it so much. Great character piece. Simple plot, totally work.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Very, very good points to make there. I totally agree with them.
Yeah.
So without revealing too much about the story, it involves Chris Pine, who plays Toby Howard. He's a recently divorced father.
Yeah.
And Ben Foster as Tanner Howard. He's this ex-con. He was in jail for like I'm not sure how much years he was in, but it was for robbery as well too. So they're out, and it's basically about them doing what it takes to save their family's farm from foreclosure.
Yeah.
So what they do, they go out on these like a series of like bank robberies around the West Texas area. So they just keep hitting like one bank, they just go in simple, give me money, and then they just leave. So it's that kind of thing. They try their best not to harm anybody or shoot anybody down, but you could tell like from those particular bank robbery scenes that Ben Foster is like the wildcat. He's like the trigger happy guy. Like he's the kind of person that if you're not careful and if you kind of push him just a little too close to the edge, shit might go down.
Right.
And Chris Pine, and this is one thing that I really loved about his character. He was the more subdued one. He was the more focused one, trying to get this job done. But at the same time, and this is what you were referring to with how his character was, and I loved how he played it. You could tell that deep down inside something is eaten away from him. So while his brother is the more wild, crazy one who's always laughing and having fun, he's kind of enjoying the thrill of just going in with guns and taking money and just leaving the scene of crime before anybody shows up, even before the police shows up. But Chris Pine is just like, all right, we're doing this. This is our goal, but after that, that's it. We have to move on with our lives. We're not gonna do this for the rest of our lives, because this is not the Wild West anymore, basically. Right. And that's one thing that really caught me off guard with this show is that, all right, the best, like I was thinking about a proper way to describe the genre of this film. Yeah. So, are you familiar with a term called the revisionist Western?
Yeah. Right. That's what I was about to bring that up. That's this idea of the modern,
like a modern take on the
Western, but it's the
genre.
It's the same old moral issues that you have to worry about.
Exactly.
In terms of this kind of right.
Yeah. So, like in the case of three examples come to mind. First one is called Little Big Man. It starred Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. It's basically about this white man, this boy who grew up amongst this group of Indians. I think they were the Comanche, whatever. And it was centered around the whole Custer's Last Stand. So there was this really vicious and violent assault on that tribe. Right. And Dustin Hoffman was just this white guy learning a lot about American Indians. And what that show kind of basically he was trying to address is that, for years, American Indians have always been portrayed as these savages just running through and just, raiding villages and whatnot, but they're not like that, And that show kind of addressed that. Another one is called McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Personal favorite of mine. It stars Warren Beatty, Faye Dunaway, Kid Zack's parents.
Yeah.
And it's just really this whole take on this dusty. It wasn't even dusty. It's really like this kind of wet western town because basically, the west, you always think it's always sand and dust, but in this case it's in the mountains, and it's during the winter, so it's really cold, it's really bleak, it's really like lifeless up in there. And just
Yeah.
about these characters just trying to get by. You have your little shootout and thing, but it's just all based off of circumstances that take place. But it's still a western, but it doesn't look or feel too much like a western. And then the final one that I know a lot of you are familiar with, Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood, Oscar winner back in 1992, Best Picture of the Year. Many people will say Malcolm X should have won, but come on, Unforgiven, great, 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 great movie.
Yeah.
And what I like is that they took this anti-hero, this villainous character, this former gunslinger turned pig farmer, and now you have him doing this job as a bounty hunter. But what really made it stand out to me is the antagonist, played by Gene Hackman,
Yeah.
where one thing just blatantly right off the bat, he doesn't shoot anybody. He doesn't even use guns. He has his bullwhip. And they kind of play it off like, who is the bigger villain here? Is it Gene Hackman for who he is and in this present time, or is it Clint Eastwood because of all the bad things he did in the past?
Yeah.
I like how they kind of play off of that. Like, yes, he's an anti-hero, but it kind of plays off the good guy versus bad guy kind of stuff. So getting back to Hello High Water there for a sec. I love how they kind of played on certain conventions with the Western. Of course, the setting in Texas. You
Yeah.
have these characters. For example, you have Jeff Bridges' character, which is this Texas Ranger, Marcus Hamilton.
Yeah.
He is the lawgiver. He's the do-gooder. He enjoys his job. And there's even a point where he mentions to his psychic Alberto, who I believe is part Mexican and part American Indian as well too, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, about not wanting to retire. But then there's this theme that's going on about the financial state of that area. So there are a lot of foreclosure taking place, a lot of people being disappointed with banks, and trying to scrape whatever money they can to get by. And I
Yeah.
also like the fact, like, for example, that scene we mentioned with the woman at that diner, which was both bizarre and hilarious at the same time. Bizarre in the sense of what she was saying. I
Yeah.
wouldn't spoil what she says there, but you have to see it for yourself. But you could tell somebody like that, like you could see like in a retirement home, or just at home rocking by in some recliner, just watching TV. But because of the financial state of things, she has to work. She has no choice. It's either she works or she starves. And you could kind of tell it's the same thing with Jeff Bridges' character. It's like, yeah, I could retire, but do what? Just stay home and watch TV and play with my dog, you know.
Right.
With all this crazy shit going on, I have to do something. It kind of goes back to the Western, and just this idea of being this cowboy, being this good, this do good. I really don't want to use the word sheriff, because I can't imagine him being like the sheriff of this town, but he's not.
Yeah.
He has a boss and he has to answer to him, but he's just this guy doing the right thing. And then you have Chris Pines and Ben Foster's character. They are clearly the outlaws. They're the guys who, they're doing all this stuff, and in case of Ben Foster, he's like the outlaw who goes and robs a bank and gets away with it and spends all the money on himself. But in this case, because they have this ulterior motive, which is trying to save their farm from foreclosure, sorry, they're
Yeah.
gonna do what it takes. And you really see that Chris Pine is more goal oriented. He's the one who kind of has that goal in focus, while Ben Foster is just about the thrill of everything. But in a way, both of them are outlaws. They are against the law. They are doing things that they are doing unlawful stuff, but it's really for this. I don't want to say a lawful cause, but it's for a righteous cause. Basically,
Right.
to kind of plays against that. And then, of course, they always talk about changing times, and they kind of mention about the Wild West a bit. And I remember there's this one scene with this guy, a cattle rancher, if you will, or basically he was just kind of trying to move a herd of cattle across
Right.
the street.
I talk about
And
insurance.
then, yeah, way in the back, you're seeing this really, really large fire going on,
Yeah.
And he's talking about his kids and how his kids would
Yeah.
never do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So all these things, trying to hold on to old traditions while, times are changing. I love that. And yeah, but getting back to the whole revisionist Western thing, I could also call this neo-western as well too.
Yeah.
Because yes, the idea of the Texas Ranger, the lawman going up against the outlaw. You've seen this in countless westerns, but in this modern take, it's done also differently. And then with the financial, the economical climate that's being addressed in this film, it's all done in this different way. And what I love, especially in the very ending, which I won't spoil, it's kind of like Chris Pine and Ben Foster. They may seem to be bad, but they aren't killing anybody. It's just near any climax where you really get to see shots going off and stuff. I won't see what happens there, but
Yeah.
really, they just want the money. They're not trying to be criminals. They don't want to kill anybody. They don't want to be arrested for murder and stuff. They just want to get money and they just want to do it the fast way. And this is the only way that they could think of. And I like how the movie doesn't really stop and say, well, there's other ways you could get this money, but no,
Right.
you really get a sense that
Well,
this is
that-
like
okay.
a last, like this is
But-
like the last option left.
That's what I loved about it as well. Okay, you notice, well, I don't know if this be but you notice who will be robbed there. So
yeah. It's these banks that, well, people kind of look down on those banks. They don't like their
Right.
policies. They don't
It's a
like how they
specific-
move.
Yeah, it's a specific bank, and there's a whole thing to it. So it's like a kind of personal. So it felt more personal than utilitarian more than anything. No?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
why. Right, and that's what I liked about with Chris Pine's character in particular is that you find out, oh, this is what that's why they did what they did, and when you find out what happened with him and parents and whatever, and mom, it's like, oh, this is what they do with it. Oh crap, this real bad though.
Yeah.
And again, to get into that moral issue with it,
Yeah.
that if no one died, you would have been like, all right, cool, this would have kind of move on and there wouldn't have been an issue. But because the price was kind of too high, that's what the moral issue is. You understand why they're doing what they're doing, but at the same time, the price is too high. And so it ultimately wasn't worth it, even if you would accept the wrong aspect of the crime they were doing, which is robbing banks. Like if it was just them robbing banks, you probably wouldn't have give a shit. But the price ended up being too high. And they get into that great moral aspect of, because the bank is probably the shittiest person in all of this.
Yeah.
And they
Even
get into
the
that.
townspeople and all, they don't trust the bank at all.
Right. That's why I would have cut that one little monologue with the character where he was talking about, who owned the land. And I would have cut that because I find it was already told with the people who said they just had utter contempt for the bank.
Yeah.
And I thought that just left that was just good storytelling and world building on its own. Especially with the other waitress, the waitress who knew who Chris Pine was.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing.
Right. And
yeah.
there's something else that just dawned on me. Why I keep using the term neo-western? Well, why I should call this a neo-western is, as you mentioned, how the whole financial, the state of things, right? It's kind of like creating this Wild West again, because basically, it's all right. Like in certain westerns, like especially there's one called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Classic movie. It has Jimmy Stewart acting in it as well as John Wayne. But basically, it's kind of like how society is moving away from the cowboys and Indians attitude. That outlaw rampant violence and stuff, and it's moving on into development, creating schools, jobs and stuff. But in this case with this movie, it's kind of like reverting back to the old ways where things are so bad that now these guys have to play outlaws now, or cowboys if you will, to save their family.
Right, that's the thing with it. What they did that aspect of the classic eye for an eye scenario end up happening with this now. And some people implicitly saw those guys as kind of heroes almost.
Folk heroes in a way.
Right, and it was like, because I think the situation was happening over the period of what, 2 or 3 days, right?
Yeah, it was about a few days. It took over through the course of a few days leading up to
so
one particular moment.
Yeah, people didn't even have to think about it. You notice there are no young people in the town. It only had like 1 or 2 people who was kind of young.
Good point. I didn't even pick up on that.
Right, you don't see much. So everybody move out. The town really, all the towns in and around the area. It had one young person. That was the girl in the bank.
I think that was one young person. I saw.
Right, and then Chris Pine's son. I think that was it. It's Chris Pine's sons.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
Right.
You don't see that many young people, at least young urban professional types. You don't see that. So you get a sense of everything being run down, and you get a sense of this kind of injustice to match injustice kind of attitude. It's like, all right, these banks suck, so we don't mind they getting robbed, and they're gonna build on that. But then, as I say, the whole eye for an eye scenario, and everybody end up being blind now, and you end up getting too much. Again, the price is a little too high. And I loved that exchange at the end with Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine.
Yes,
perfect.
I love that.
It was such a perfect, like, oh shit going down now, because it's an age where Jeff Bridges too old and he's a family man, but the machismo aspect have to come out now.
Yeah, exactly. That whole cowboy thing. And
right,
I wouldn't spoil too much, but yes, they do a final showdown. You have your two cowboys basically about to pull their guns out, but it's just this dialogue scene that takes place, and it just bookends this film perfectly.
Yeah. It was a nice little bookend, because you don't know what happened at the end, because he tell him about give him a little kind of ultimatum kind of thing at the end.
Yeah.
And you're not sure what would have happened after. No.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this was pretty damn awesome.
Yeah. A couple of things before we get to our rating. Yeah. A lot of people will compare this show, well, right off the bat, to No Country for Old Men. More particularly Jeff Bridges' character, who, yes, is kind of like Tommy Lee Jones' character. But in this one, it tells a story, it tells it well. But yes, you could compare it to like Coen Brothers films, especially with the dialogue. But don't think of this as some sort of Coen Brothers ripoff. Like, No Country for Old Men was great, so we're gonna try and copy that style. Right. It's not like that. It's its own thing. It's trying to make its own points, and
Right. Another thing, it got into the banality of just, again, the banality of evil argument. Everything was pretty matter of fact in it. How the film was shot and edited. But it didn't, at no point I didn't notice the editing and the camera cinematography, unlike Sicario, which was everything was this kind of every frame a painting kind of approach.
Yeah.
With this, it just told a simple story. It told its themes. You didn't think about it being You don't think about the editing
being something else than the sum of its parts. Like,
right, and you don't think about it at all. So again, just the editing and the cinematography. The cinematography is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, right.
And I don't know. I'm still thinking if it was shot like, say, Sicario, would it have made a better film? I have no idea.
But what I think is? I think it's because the director is not from America, so he doesn't like. Yes, West Texas looks beautiful and stuff. The outdoor shots. But I don't think that he would make a film like that to kind of, glorify West Texas. This is not a John Ford movie where it's all about pro-America. It's like, oh, well, look at the Grand Canyon, look how gorgeous this is, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's about telling its story, and this is just the setting. That's all it is.
Yeah, you get the sense that you don't want to be living there now. Like, it just dry and everything that's how to just sort out, and everything's dusty and brown.
Yeah, not that much trees go up
there,
that's
a
lot
sad.
of grass and stuff.
And everybody old and sad and going to die just now.
Yeah. And if you guys stick around, like, for the final shot, I'm not going to say what it is, but the final shot with the credits rolling, it's kind of like, more like subverting that what you would expect from, those, like, that John Ford Western.
Yeah. I kind of got that.
Yeah, I love that as well too.
That's why I stuck around for the credits. Cause I thought we was gonna get like a kind of mid-credits, post-credits sequence, something maybe. But it's like, all right, cool.
And here's the thing, like when I went to see it yesterday, I mean there wasn't that much people there, but as soon as it ended and credits had a rule, I thought that everybody was just going to get up and walk off, But I saw like some people were just sitting down and they was listening to the music. Yes, the soundtrack. I don't know all the songs there, but the soundtrack is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
We just sat and just watched all the credits roll until it ends. And we were just like, wow. Like, normally, if it's like some big budget movie, like like a Suicide Squad or BBS, you can't wait until the movie done and you get up and go. But everybody just sat down and just watch everything just play out, and that's amazing. That's how great a movie that is.
Yeah, this was just damn good. Again, I call it one of the apology movies.
Yeah,
because between this and probably Kubo, when Kubo the two strings come out, it is making up for most of the this movie totally made up for a lot of the bullshit that I had to deal with this summer.
Yeah.
I'll say if I had to trade this off between this and probably like now I could forget that Tarzan existed and Ben-Hur existed. This movie does pay off for two of that.
Yeah.
So that's the cosmic debt that is paid, I think, for the supposed terrible movies that I got. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm gonna give him a rating soon.
We'll give it now.
Right, I'm gonna give this a high IMAX.
Nice.
It's easily one of the highest ratings I could give. This was excellent. Wasn't perfect. It wasn't particularly interesting or original in any like real clever way. It just was a simple damn story and just damn good filmmaking on a whole for me.
Right.
I really enjoyed this. Chris Pine was great. Jeff Bridges was great. You know, I just enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the space. I enjoyed the story. It had me the entire time. And yeah, this was just a great experience for me. I really, really enjoyed this film. I highly recommend this film. Go see it as soon as you can. Give it its money. You know, I want it to do well and do, you know, do good money and make well. This is more likely going to make a top 10 for the year for me. Yeah, I enjoyed this.
All right. Very good. Well, for me, this last bit of stuff I want to say about it before I get into my rating. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie as well too. I thought it was well put together. I love the direction. I love the writing. I love the dialogue. The dialogue stands out so much in this movie.
Yeah.
Lots of moments where you laugh and lots of moments where you be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. You know, very insightful, very provocative and stuff. Minor gripes would be just the pacing is just like a little off at times, and I do get that it's a slow paced movie.
Right.
So yeah, people who expecting a lot of action from this because it's a crime / heist movie will be extremely disappointed. But you know, you have to give this time, you have to give this patience. And like, for me, like when I came out of this, I was just thinking about the particular themes and motifs in this, and that's seen a lot. Like I you know, just going in to see a movie, then coming out of this thinking about it, that says a lot. You know, especially in 2016 with, you know, these sort of cookie cutter movies that we've been getting. No offense to Deadpool and stuff, and you know, but you don't really use too much of your brain with those shows because it's entertainment. But this one, yes, it is entertainment, but at the same time, it has so much things going on that, you know, you have to really think about it, and especially, you know, when all the credits roll up, you're just there like, yeah, boy, like either I need to see the show again or I just really need to put some more thought into this again, because you know it just says so much about society, about characters and stuff. I would have loved a little bit more of character development, but because of the simplicity of it all, I forgive. I'll just let that one slide. You know, it's about the simplicity of the characters and not trying to go too in depth about everyone. You know, you don't need to know why Ben Foster's so trigger happy. You don't need to know too much about why Chris Pine is also subdued. You see it. You have to kind of figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, and you can piece
Chris
that
Pine,
together.
probably the best performance I have ever seen from Chris Pine.
I
don't know his entire filmography, but my goodness.
Yeah, I think that's probably his best performance I've ever seen. It's like he's a person that always was just this kind of generic white guy for me. Even in Star Trek,
the pretty boy.
Right, yeah, exactly. Even in Star Trek, he never really formed or filled in the Kirk role properly, in my opinion. Even in the last movie, which I liked, but he was like, he's just almost like a placeholder more than anything. But this was
he's his own character. He's no William Shatner. Let me just be honest.
But it was still, even he didn't become his own thing for me at all. In the new Star Trek films, and for this, I just thought he was such a strong character. He totally worked. And as I said, the film had a great slow burn.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a slow burn.
Which totally worked for me in this. That's why I didn't really think of the pace and all that much. Because it just had like these little great human moments in it that just worked. Like it had this great scene where he was drunk in his room and he was talking about religion with the other guy.
With the TBN was playing and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that. That was a good scene. Yeah, that was a good scene.
Again, they keep you know having a great juxtaposition with the two pairs of men now. And it's two pairs of men, if you think about it, similar, no?
Yeah.
Similar relationships. Each of them have one serious, one dumb and silly and talking shit. And they you know, just that juxtaposition of criminals, and it just worked. Great script, simple. God damn.
And also too, well, the whole cowboy and Indian thing with Jeff Bridges and, you know, Gil's characters, I love that. You know, Gil delivers a great performance as well too. I know a lot of people talk about Chris Pine and Ben Foster and Jeff Bridges, but you know, Gil was fantastic too.
Yeah, the supporting cast was great in this as well.
Yeah, and then of course you have the from the Roberts perspective, so you have the wanting to do this for the rest of your life against, okay, this is like the last job, and after that we retire, and that kind of vibe. Yeah. You know, I love that back and forth.
And Ben Foster's character, even though he's a bit of a rube and a kind of silly, he's incredibly resourceful and intelligent in the sense of at least from dealing with crime, because they have a really cool part with him with a gas tank. I love.
Oh yes.
What they do, I thought that was really clever. I didn't expect that at all. I was like, oh, you serious with this? It's not real sharp though. I was like, that was great. Yeah.
So for me, strong 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
Definitely see it as soon as you can. I
Yeah.
know this show will fly over a lot of people's heads,
Yeah.
especially with Ben-Hur and Kubo and War Dogs and all these different
Yeah.
shows
It'll fight.
that that trying to wrap up the whole summer blockbuster season.
Right.
But please, 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 I urge you to give this movie a chance. I definitely see this on my top 10. Maybe not in my top 5 as yet. Maybe I just need to watch it over again, and then maybe I could say yes. This will definitely be in my top 5 right there. But right now,
Right.
top 10 for sure. Great directing, great acting, great everything. But just go in knowing that this is a slow burn movie, so don't expect an action scene every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It wasn't just your simple, okay, cops and robbers story. There was more depth, more
Yeah.
layers to it, and I love that. So yeah, definitely check out Hell or High Water.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
talked about the good, we talked about the great, and we talked about the crappy.
Yeah.
Stuff to look forward to. Well, yeah, we mentioned Kubo.
War
I
Dogs.
think we get in the next couple of weeks, unfortunately, because we suck.
Yeah. Take it.
Yeah, there's War Dogs is coming out.
Yeah.
Well, this week. I've been hearing reviews have been kind of mixed about it.
Right.
I don't know, maybe it's too dark, maybe it's not, maybe it's
Two of
too
them.
funny. I don't know.
I don't like either of them all that much. So those two actors, that boy from Fantastic Four, and then the
Dude,
other
Miles
guy.
Teller, Whiplash, come on.
Yeah, but I think I don't. I only know him for Fantastic Four now. 'Cause I love Whiplash, but I can remember him from that. I only remember J.K. Simmons.
And I don't know, maybe it's just because I like my little guilty pleasure movies every once in a while. Mechanic, Resurrection.
Oh
I don't know
boy!
why it's called Resurrection. I don't need to know why it's called Resurrection, but
I getting the feeling that gonna be a transporter again.
it will be your generic standard Jesus Statham movie. You
Right.
go in, you know what you get, you come out, you're happy. That's
Nah,
all.
I probably not gonna watch that. So okay, like song like bullshit. It have a bunch of great TV. Halt and Catch Fire is coming back. So
Oh,
gonna
really?
be
Okay.
yes, a
This
big
is what,
fan of that
third
show.
season or
Third
second?
season, yes, third
Alright.
season. Big fan of that show. Right. So Mr. Robot gonna be wrapping up soon. I think it wrapped up next week. I think.
Okay, well,
And
10 episodes, right? Still?
yeah.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna talk about that. Hopefully, I'll talk about that, and then the night of gonna be wrapping up soon. So
Yes.
that'll-
So looking forward to that too. I'll try to
so
check that out as well.
all right, cool.
Alright, so, Ricardo, where can we find you online, man?
Yes, you can find me ampersat RMEDDY. That is at RMEDDY on Twitter, and then you can just type in my name on Facebook, and you can find me there. That's pretty much it.
Alright, well, you can find me on Twitter as well too. You can look for Legally Black MJB in capital letters. If you want more about the Get Down when it comes to, my blog and podcasts and stuff, you can just look for me on Facebook. Type in Matthew Bailey. Also, you can look for a Legally Black blog official fan base as well.
All right. So
Yeah. So, oh yes,
Right.
and by the way, just to kind of recap, Netflix is the Get Down. Only 6 episodes, but definitely check it out. You have a lot of fun with that. Ben-Hur, as Ricardo states, skip it.
yeah, bullshit.
And Hello High Water, definitely check it out. One of our favorite movies for the year. I'm glad we could both agree on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, please check it out before it stops showing in theaters. I have a feeling like down here we might probably get it. I mean, if it's lucky enough to show one more week, then great. But
Right.
I have
Yeah,
a
the-
feeling,
the-
yeah. I just
yeah, the
have a
screening
feeling
I-
it mightn't last that long,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
the screening I went to was pretty small. It was like I don't know, 3 or 4 other guys in the theater. I was like, all right,
Yeah, let me
jeez.
guess. Solo crowd for Ben-Hur, right?
No, it was middle. But I went on a weird time, so
Yeah. Well, I guess more people going and watch over Suicide Squad. Maybe to
yeah,
see,
whatever.
yeah, I like it, but maybe if I watch it again, I might like it again.
Yeah,
know,
that
kind of
bullshit.
thing.
That
I'm not even
bullshit.
going through that, unfortunately,
Yeah,
because I don't have
it's
time.
no time. All right.
Anyway, speaking of time, it's time for us to go. So,
Yeah.
once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. If you listen to this, this was Matthew Bailey, and
Prada Medina. Hello.
yeah, take care, guys. Later.
All right.